Come on, Eric Adams. It's main ingredient, R&B. You grew up with this like I did. You're a fool and you're incompetent. And I'm going to lay out my case before our jury of listeners. And the music? Let's go to Exhibit 1. Here's Eric Adams in Washington, D.C. before black mayors from around the country, talking about how he is the CEO of the biggest company in America.
I'm the CEO of the largest corporation in America, and my bald head, earring wearing swagger is running this city my way. My way. Yeah. That's swag.
Yes, sir.
He's running it right into the ground. And by the way, Justin, can you do a fact check and let him know he's not the CEO of the largest corporation? I mean, you would have thought the media would have called him out on that, but hey, his complexion is his protection. I got it. Then there was him before he went to Israel to escape for a week. He basically did the Pontius Pilate. He washed his hands of this a migrant situation that he encouraged, trying to go one up on Governor Abbott in August of a year ago.
This is a moment where people need to stop asking, Eric, what are you doing? This is a moment we need to ask, what are we doing? We can't do this alone. This is an all hands on deck. The dollars coming in are not equaling the dollars that we have to pay going out. So we're going to do our part to the best of our abilities within the financial restraint, but we have a real call. We need every New Yorker that has something to offer to play a role. This is not Mayor Adams' job. This is the job of the people of the city of New York.
They basically abandoned ship. As the general, he was in full retreat. He's left it to us. So I'm doing what I have to do and leading the rebels to prevent the tents, the migrant centers, the hotels from housing more illegal aliens. I'm leading the rebels. He's abandoned ship. And then he gets crazy. And the media gives him a pass. I mean, listen to this fool.
30-something years ago, I woke up out of my sleep in a cold sweat. God spoke to my heart and said, you are going to be the mayor January 1st, 2022. And the message was clear. God stated, you cannot be silent. You must tell everyone you know. Because it's a Judges 7, verse 2 through 7 moment. Because when you win the battle, I don't want you to think that you won on your own, and I don't want people to think that you won because of you who you are.
It's God who made him mayor. Imagine, anybody else would have said that. And you would have said, that's one of the 5 traits of schizophrenia. I deal with emotionally disturbed persons every day in the streets, in the subways, and sometimes they'll come up and tell me, yeah, I have a conversation with God. I heard God last night. And I said, have you taken your medication? I wish somebody in his staff, you're listening at City Hall, would make sure he stays on his meds. And then whenever he insults elderly women, which he's had a habit of lately, if they at all approach him and at all criticize him, starting with the elderly Jewish woman who escaped the Holocaust, 84 years old, from the Upper West Side, who was there in Washington Heights to talk about rent control, rent stabilization. He hides behind his mommy.
And she would say to me, baby, don't you ever let someone disrespect you. And no matter where I am, mommy transitioned almost 2 years ago, but I hear her every time someone think they're gonna step up and disrespect me. Mommy said, don't you ever let someone disrespect you. You better stand up, boy. As my son would say, you better recognize.
Somehow I cannot imagine that his mother told him to disrespect elderly women, grandmothers, like she herself was before, as he said, she transitioned. I can't imagine a woman of faith, as we know Mrs. Adams was, telling her son that a grandmother approaches you and criticizes you or has a pointed question at you, you get all defensive and hide behind me. Nope. He's playing the Mameluke role. What a Mameluke. And then how quickly we forget when he didn't want migrants coming into New York City, legal migrants.
Go back to Iowa, you go back to Ohio. New York City belongs to the people that was here and made New York City what it is.
New York City belongs to the people that was here who made New York City what it was. So hipsters and millennials, tens of thousands of them poured in from Ohio, the Buckeye State, and Iowa, where there are more pigs than people, most of them white, most of them Americans by birth. So they didn't even want Americans here from out of state. He rolls out the red carpet with our tax dollars for illegals. Can I hear that one more time? Cue that up, Wrong Way, Lou.
Go back to Iowa, you go back to Ohio. New York City belongs to the people that was here and made New York City what it is.
See, that's why he's a fool. That's why he's incompetent, and his complexion is his complexion. You would think the media would immediately call him out on that. Can we transition? There's a song the Doobie Brothers have. I'm thinking of it right now since we're talking about him being a fool, Eric Adams, and incompetent. How about What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Brothers? Could I hear that? Because, hey, you're very good, Wrong Way, Lou Rufino, when it comes to getting that vinyl on that turntable, spinning that stacks of wax.
What a fool believes. The wise man has the power to reason away what seems to be is always better than nothing.
Oh, yeah. So good, that jam. Classic jam. What a Fool Believes by the Doobie Brothers. Okay, enough of the music. We'll save it for Cousin Brucey on the weekend. Let's get back on track because Eric Adams is an enigma. He gives so much material here at Talk Radio, says one thing one day, and then does a pivot and shift or flip-flop the next day. He decided at one point when he was running for office, although this cut did not surface until after he beat me in November 2022, wish it would have surfaced during the campaign, although he would have somehow justified it. But when he was talking to an audience in the campaign against me for mayor, it was a black audience in Harlem, and he was flexing. He was busting his buttons and bridges with pride, talking how he kicked all those crackers' asses.
Every day in the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable.
Could I hear that one more time, please, Lou?
Every day in the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable.
Can you imagine if I dropped the N-bomb during the campaign? That would have been it for me, man. I would have had to go to Mauritania, Madagascar, someplace you can't even find on the map. And yet he was able to say that, and you know he believes that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, here, look, this fool believes that. He's incompetent. How can you run a city if you think that white people are crackers out there? And then you encourage the crackers to leave. They'll even go to Florida now after the second hurricane has wiped out parts of the north, as the first hurricane had taken out Fort Myers, Lee County. They still want to go to Florida. But let's continue. Because when he says something like that, then all of a sudden the Spirit takes hold of him.
I walk in the Spirit of God. I talk in the Spirit of God. 35 years ago, I set my GPS, my God position and satellite, and I've been on one course and one destination.
I didn't know that you could get a GPS that'll put you on the God track, you know. That's a fool, right? If you're basing your decisions on your GPS, your God GPS, no wonder why we're in such a horrible shape. And then, of course, he becomes a goofball whenever the subject of weed comes up.
Because I smell some weed. Someone is smoking. Someone is smoking.
We got 2,000 illegal weed shops in New York, and they're popping up by the day. And then he had a very serious press conference. And again, he acted like a fool, like a goofball. And he's turned out to be incompetent in this area.
The cannabis industry is a budding economy. I just realized that buds. Yeah. Who put that in here? It's a budding economy. and we want to make sure that we get it right so that we can say in the city of New York that we are the joint.
How can anybody take this guy seriously? If you were running a illegal weed pop-up shop, you would say, this guy ain't going to do nothing, and he hasn't. He's incompetent. And then if you criticize him, if you're a member of the media, the Fourth Estate, he does a kunta kinte on you.
People can say what they want. There are those in society that still long to see me stop saying Kunta Kinte, and they want me to say Toby. And it's uncomfortable for them. So you can whip me as much as you want. But when you take off my shirt, you'll see the scars are already there. You know, I've gotten beaten enough that I can't be beaten again. I came into government saying Kunta Kinte. I'm leaving government saying Kunta Kinte. And if you don't know who he is, go see Roots.
Then he drops it like he's an MC in hip-hop.
Don't disconnect this moment. First time in New York City history, we have a hip-hop mayor.
What a fool. What an incompetent. He hangs out more at hip-hop gatherings than he does of gatherings of his deputy mayors and his commissioners. You almost never see him at City Hall, you know, having a roundtable discussion about what to do about this insane invasion of illegal aliens. He's got no plan. He's a swagger man with no plan. And then when he gets called out like he did by his partner, Kathy Hochul, who said, look, we sent you $1.5 billion in this last year to deal with migrants. Where's the money? Where's the invoices? Where's the receipts?
And then there was an analysis of the invoicing. Many people don't understand. We're not getting dollar for dollar for every invoice we give the state. We're getting 29% per dollar. So the entire $1 billion that was allocated, we won't get that until we spend over $4 billion. We haven't spent over $4 billion. We spent something like $1.7 billion. So every time we give an invoice, they look at the invoice and give us 29% of that. So there was no way we can draw down on a whole $1 billion because we haven't spent over $4 billion yet.
He's kicking mathematical technology. I got vertigo. What the hell is he talking about? Justin, we got to talk to the Baruch man tomorrow who went to school at Baruch to be an accountant, Sid Rosenberg. We got to play this and ask him, what the hell is he talking about? He's a fool and he's incompetent. And then, of course, he wants us all to believe that he's just like Gandhi.
So I'm Gandhi-like. I think like Gandhi. I act like Gandhi. I want to be like Gandhi.
Yeah, he wears a $5,000 customized suit and doesn't realize Gandhi wore a diaper. Gandhi didn't go to private clubs at night till the break of dawn and get wine down the pocket line. What a fool he is. But I tell you what, Justin, for the sake of our city, which is falling into the abyss, I'll give him an olive branch, wrong way, Lou Ruffino, as he's given me the switch. He's rejected me as his rats are. I said I'd do it for no money and do it nocturnally when the rats are out. He rejected me. He dissed and dismissed me. But when I get elected, and I will beat him the next time around in a little more than 2 years for mayor, I will hand out the olive branch, and Justin, I will take the high road, and I will make him my deputy mayor of nightlife, because that's the only freaking thing he ever does.